All right, I'm going to ask NHGA Vice President Jim Jankowski to approach the stage and introduce our past champions.
All right, I'm glad everyone's still eating, but it's my honor to introduce your past and current champions. When I call your name, if you could stand up and stay standing until we're done, and if you could also hold your applause till the end. Past champions in attendance: Danny Arvanitis. Danny here. Okay. Peter Beaulieu. Jim Silly. Lori Ethier. Bill Everett. Jim Haggis. Kirk Hannafeld. Peter Hardy. David Larrabee. Jay Leonard. John Lewandowski. Bill Lockhead. Mike Martell. Tracy Martin. Bob Mealcards. Matt Paradise. James Pleat. Phil Pleat. Chelsea Sedlar. Laura Shanahan Rowe. Tara Watt. Brett Wilson. And your current champions: Craig Stekovich, the senior match play; Harvin Groff, the mid-am match play; Matt Paradise, the players invitational; Amy Peters, the women's team championship; Dana Harity, women's match play; John DeVito, the state am; Jack Pepin, the boys junior; Karis Fennessy, the NHWGA girls junior; Scott Peters and Craig Stekovich, the senior four-ball; and Tony Fournier, the senior amateur. Ladies and gentlemen, your past and current champions.
Thank you, Jim, and congratulations to all of our current year champions and past champions. It is really great to see so many folks that come back year after year, so congratulations to everyone. One of the things that we like to do this evening is take a minute to thank so many folks who make what we do as the NHGA possible. And we certainly want to take a minute to thank our sponsors. As you can see, we've got a couple of banners in the back of the room to highlight our sponsors and their contributions to what we do at the Golf Association level. And we do have a little token of thanks for our sponsors and want to make sure they're recognized this evening. So I'm going to ask Kate Billings, our Director of Communications, to come up here and give a little token of thanks to our sponsors.
Hi, everybody. Matt, I think on behalf of Kinsey and Chelsea and myself, we also want to thank you. You've taken on a lot of the work we've had this year, so if we can all give Matt a round of applause for everything he's done. All right, so I want to take a few moments to recognize the NHGA sponsors that continue to support us in everything that we work towards with golf in New Hampshire. First, we want to thank Larry Bedell and Audi Nashua for their support of the New Hampshire Amateur Championship over the last 4 years. We're able to make the state amateur a first-class event with their continued support. We also want to acknowledge Ed Gallagher and Xfinity for their contribution to help make the New Hampshire Open one of the top state opens in the region. Professionals and amateurs from all over the country look forward to competing in New Hampshire, and we're able to make that tournament one of the best around with Xfinity's support. Two others who could not make it tonight are Steve and Marjorie Thorpe. They have been supporters of the NHGA Junior Tour through the Thorpe Family Foundation for many years. Their support of junior golf is what helps us grow the Junior Tour and in turn grow the game of golf in New Hampshire. We're also able to provide a scholarship to a deserving graduate of the Junior Tour, which will be presented tonight. As you'll see this evening, we're proud of the NHGA Junior Tour golfers and their accomplishments. The Junior Tour is truly made possible from the support of the Thorpe Family Foundation. I'd also like to thank Imperial Headwear, Pilot House Wealth Advisors, WorkSmart HR, Smutty Nose Brewing Company, Nike Junior Golf Camp, and the Great New Hampshire Restaurant Group for their sponsorship throughout the year. If you haven't done so already, I urge you to check out the great programs, products, and services all of our sponsors have to offer. Although some were not able to be here to celebrate this occasion, I do want to call up a few that are here tonight. Golf and Ski Warehouse continues to be a valued partner of the NHGA and one of our most loyal supporters. As sponsors of the Junior Tour Player of the Year and Tournament Series Pointless, on behalf of the NHGA, I want to express our gratitude to Scott Peters and Ned Waters for their continued support. I'd like to invite Scott Peters to come up to the stage to accept a token of our appreciation. Happy to now have NBT Bank as a partner of ours. Their commitment to the community and the people in their community are what make this partnership a natural fit. I hope you're all able to meet Marilyn Charbonneau, Eileen Santerre, and Amanda Bruno during the cocktail hour, and hope you all had an NBT-ni. And I hope you're able to learn a little bit more about what NBT Bank does and what they can offer you. So Marilyn, Eileen, and Amanda, can you please come up to the stage and accept a small gift as a thank you for your support. Thank you all. Enjoy the evening.
Don't let Kate kid you. I did the least amount of work I've done in the 6 years I've been here this year. So, thanks again to all of our sponsors. We certainly appreciate the support. One of the neat things that we've started to do this year with this event is really to try to make it a celebration of golf as a whole in the state of New Hampshire. There are a lot of different organizations to do a lot of different things, and we're lucky this year to be able to recognize some of the accomplishments by some of the folks in our allied associations. And I'm pleased this evening to have the opportunity to introduce 3 New Hampshire chapter PGA Special Award winners. And we're going to start with Kelly Kostick of Wyndham Country Club, who's the 2019 New Hampshire chapter junior golf leader. Kelly is a 2-time NEPGA Teacher of the Year, a top 50 LPGA teaching professional, and a PGA of America Life member. She has been nominated 5 times for Golf Magazine's Top 100 Teacher list, recognized 10 times by Golf Digest as a top teacher in the state, and is also the recipient of the Massachusetts Chapter Teacher of the Year Award. She currently serves on the New Hampshire PGA Chapter Tournament Committee and is active in many teaching and growth of the game initiatives at Wyndham, including PGA Junior League and Get Golf Ready. She remains active with the Boys and Girls Club of Salem, New Hampshire, and works with the Londonderry and Pelham Parks and Recs departments to administer adult and junior golf clinics. She's active with various middle school golf teams and has worked extensively with high school teams from Nashua, Wyndham, and Salem. Please join me in welcoming the 2019 New Hampshire PGA Chapter Junior Golf Leader, Kelly Kostick.
Joanne told me to make it brief, so I will. I'm so happy to be working in New Hampshire. A lot of you know me from working in Massachusetts, and this means so much to me. It's been a 30-year journey teaching kids. It was one of my first responsibilities as an assistant pro starting in Massachusetts. And to come to New Hampshire and have so many kids do so many wonderful things, and to be at a place like Wyndham with Joanne Flynn and Mark Spencer, it's just great. And I'll be a 25-year member of the PGA this year. I hate to say that, but it's gone really fast, and I'm not done yet. And congrats to all the champs and the Hall of Fame winners in New Hampshire. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody in golf in New Hampshire, and we'll keep going. So thank you so much.
Our next honoree from the New Hampshire chapter is the 2019 New Hampshire Chapter Player of the Year, which is C.J. Konkowski from Keene Country Club. C.J. was the model of consistency during the 2019 season, as he finished inside the top 5 low professionals at 9 different chapter pro-ams this year. This included wins here at Manchester in April, Montcalm in September, and Abenaki just this past Tuesday. Konkowski won the New Hampshire Chapter Championship held in August at North Conway Country Club, firing rounds of 66 and 69 for a 7-under total and a 1-shot victory. His 2-day total included 10 birdies and an eagle. His overall scoring average for the year was a shade over 72 during his competitive season. Please help me welcome the 2019 New Hampshire Chapter Player of the Year, C.J. Konkowski.
Thanks so much for having me here tonight, Matt. I owe so much to the NHGA. I got started playing golf when I was about 12, and the first tournaments I played were here in the New Hampshire Golf Association. So I'm just really appreciative for everything that they do for junior golf and for golf in New Hampshire. So thanks so much for having me tonight.
And our final chapter special award winner is the 2019 Golf Professional of the Year, Joel St. Laurent from Passaconaway Country Club. Elected to PGA membership in 1981, Joel began his career in golf as an instructor in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. He served as a head professional at various clubs in the state, including Green Meadow and Portsmouth Country Club. Joel was the recipient of the 2004 New England PGA Bill Strasbaugh Award, which is presented yearly to the PGA professional who by their day-to-day efforts have distinguished themselves by mentoring their fellow PGA professionals in improving employment and through service to the community. Joel served on both the New Hampshire Chapter and the New England PGA Boards of Directors and was a member of the New Hampshire Chapter Tournament Committee for 7 years. He was also a member of the PGA President's Council on Growing the Game from 2005 until 2009. Joel continues to be active in the chapter, participating in pro-ams throughout the state, and he remains engaged through service on various committees and an advisory role. Unfortunately, Joel was unable to attend this evening, but to accept his award, please welcome his daughter, Kelly O'Brien, to the stage to accept on his behalf.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me. Thank you. I'm Joel's daughter, Kelly, and he asked me to share a few words with you on his behalf. I'm sorry that I am unable to join you for a night of great celebration in New Hampshire golf, and at the same time, for our family as well. My congratulations to all tonight's inductees, 3 great golf champions, and the consummate PGA professional, who I had the monumental task of following in his footsteps back in 2001. It is indeed a great honor to have been selected as the New Hampshire PGA Professional of the Year for 2019 by my fellow PGA professionals. This honor is one that I feel so many of my peers are as deserving, but I guess they decided that I might be running out of opportunities, as I am well into my back 9 of my career. I am humbled in accepting this award and will cherish it for the rest of my life. Thank you to all my PGA brethren for thinking highly enough of me to have been your selection this year. Like all honorees, I have not made this journey alone. After nearly 40 years as a PGA professional, I have so many people to thank for the success that I have enjoyed that I could not name them all tonight. But believe me, none will ever be forgotten. I met David Friel and the great Phil Friel at Walt Disney World on a freezing cold night in 1976. They decided to take a chance on this young, unproven pro and mentored me for nearly 15 years in preparation for my first head professional opportunity. I have always tried to carry myself in a way to make them proud of me as a way of saying thanks for jump-starting my career way back when. Terry Frechette, a Hall of Fame character himself and lifelong golf industry executive, was a great supporter and believer in me, oftentimes when I questioned myself. He constantly challenged me to be better, pushing me to places that I did not think possible. Cal Scarponi, Dan Parr, Bob Mariano, and Scott Taylor did much the same along the way. Even one of tonight's Hall of Fame inductees and former UNH teammate, Phil Pleat, proved to be a great sounding board and an invaluable influence in my development as a club professional. I can never thank them enough for helping to shape me professionally. Today, I would also like to give a special thanks and shout out to the Charbonneau family, who gave me the opportunity back in 2014 to continue my love affair with the great game as their director of golf at Passaconaway Country Club. Their belief in me and the value of my experience in golf came at a time when other clubs had given up on me. For that, I will thank them until I make the last putt on the final green. Lastly, I would like to recognize that none of this would have been possible without my family being in lockstep with me. My wife, Holly, my partner of 41 years, has made so many sacrifices along the way for me to pursue my vocation. Every PGA professional should have the kind of support system that she, my daughter Kelly, and son Joel have provided me. Whether it was working by my side during major events or simply waiting for me to come home for another late dinner, they never once complained. This honor is as much theirs as it is mine. Thank you and have a great night. And just quickly, since he's not here, in closing, I'd like to add that growing up, whenever I shared that my father was a golf professional, many people would mistakenly envision him off at Augusta, green jacket, and large check awaiting. The realities of PGA professional title are much different, as you know. My dad taught my brother and I the meaning of work ethic through example. His passion for the game and dedication to customer service are unparalleled. Regardless of how many hours in a week he works, his love of his job is evident. So thank you again for awarding my dad with this honor.
And in keeping with the theme of sharing this evening with some of our valued allied organizations, at this point I'm going to ask Glenn Walton, president of the McDonough Scholarship Foundation, to approach the stage as McDonough has a special presentation for us tonight as well. Glenn?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out tonight and enjoying this tradition that the NHGA has started for everyone here in New Hampshire. First, McDonough would definitely like to thank the NHGA. McDonough essentially grew out of the NHGA back in 1955 when the scholarship fund was started, and the NHGA continues to give strong financial support every year to the McDonough Foundation to fund the Dr. Elliott Scholarship and the Mrs. Pauline Elliott Scholarships, 2 scholarships that are funded in perpetuity. So we definitely like to thank the NHGA for that support. So by way of a quick commercial, McDonough was founded back in 1955, and since 1955 we would have awarded nearly $3 million in scholarships. This past year we awarded over $125,000 to 75 young people from around New Hampshire that work at New Hampshire's clubs. We're guided by an all-volunteer board of directors. We don't take any meals or mileage or anything like that. We just try and plow as much as we can back into scholarships. And I'd like to recognize a few folks that are here in the room tonight from the McDonough Foundation. First, I'd like to recognize the 1961 state amateur champion, Bill Lockhead, who was a past president of McDonough. If Billy could stand up for a second and take a bow. Our immediate past president, John Wilkowski, if John could stand for a second. John interviewed with Billy Lockhead 30 years ago, back when Bill was around, but we're on Bill's shoulders. One of our other past presidents, Pete Smith, as well as Brett Wilson. And I guess if I could just ask you to hold your applause to the end for the current McDonough board. But Eileen Conway, if you could stand up, Brett Wilson, Keith Boyle, McDonough's Vice President Bill Everett, Kevin Keys, Tom McCoy, our scholarship chair Jeff Rounsaville, Pat Spooner, Bill Kruger, and of course John Wilkowski, our immediate past president. These are the folks that are helping out around the state with trying to raise money to give that $125,000 to these scholars. So I'd like the whole board to get a round of applause, please. So for approximately the last 20 years, we've been giving out a Distinguished Service Award that was named after Stan Lenski. And the award's been given out for many years, but I'd like to have somebody that might do a better job of getting through it than I would. So I'd like to ask our past president, Pete Smith, to come up and just talk a little bit about Stan and the origin of the Lenski Service Award, and then to make the presentation.
Great. Well, listen, congratulations to all you winners, you Hall of Famers. I think I could probably take on Pleat at Frankie O'Donnell's place. You know, the last hole always had that, you know, you could, if you got it in the hole, you could get another 18 holes. So congratulations. Glenn asked me to say a few words about my friend Stan Lenski. So I was going to do it, and I was thinking about it, and I could go on all night. I'm not going to do that. So one of my favorite poems in life is written by a New Hampshire resident. He wasn't born in New Hampshire. His name's Robert Frost. He actually taught at Dartmouth. And the last stanza I thought was particularly compelling to me. It's his poem, The Road Not Taken. And a lot of you English majors may recall it. So the last three lines of the stanza basically says, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And I think today, given all the social media hysteria and the divisiveness that goes on in this great country of ours, Stan took the right path. He was a very, very kind man. He was an incredibly humble guy. He told the truth, and he did it with a lot of respect for others. And along the way, he had a great sense of humor. And he was needling you, and you never realized you were getting the needle from Stan. Right, Rich? Yeah. So I want to take you back to 1999. And if you remember that far back, a lot of the junior golfers may not, but there was this hysteria going on in the world called Y2K. Remember that, right? It didn't turn out to be it was great for the software services industry, which I happen to be part of, so that was kind of nice. But nonetheless, I happen to be doing my annual Christmas shopping at the Manchester Country Club Golf Shop, which Stan would man. And so my wife would dispatch me every year. Now, it's your turn, Peter. Go down to see Stan. I want you to buy everything for the guys in the family. Okay, got it, Kelly. Right. So off I'd go. So it was really pretty easy because you'd go into the golf lounge, the old golf lounge here at Manchester, and you'd have lunch, you'd get a beer, and then you'd go in and visit Stan. So I was in Stan buying golf balls and shirts and whatnot for my from the males in my family. And what he did is he always wrapped the gifts, but I always took the credit for doing the gift wrapping, okay? So that's a confession, truth-telling, right? Which I had talked about your uncle, Mike. So anyways, so we just started chit-chatting, and very nonchalantly, Stan said to me, well, you know, Pete, I've been here for 50 years. I said, you've been what? And he said, no, I've been active at Manchester Country Club for 50 years. And I said to him, Stan, we got to do an event. We got to recognize you for your 50 years of dedication here at Manchester and the PGA and the game of golf. He said, that's a fine idea, Pete. Go ahead and have a dinner. It's just I don't want to come. And I mean, that's the humility of the man that I was speaking to. So we basically said, look, Stan, no dinner. So we made Stan actually come. He made me promise that he didn't have to get up and give a speech. I said, okay. I fudged. I lied. We made him talk for a little bit. But the result of that actually was a named scholarship in Stan. It continues to deliver via the McDonough Fund thousands of dollars. And I asked him, I said, what's the criteria you would like to do? Somebody that worked at Manchester? He said, no. Very simple. I want the person to be the recipient of the scholarship, whether they are a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, to be the most needy, the most financially needy. And I'll tell you, there are a couple of good examples over the years. When you get a letter at your house, when you're on the McDonough board, and a mother writes to you and says, I'm recently divorced, my husband left us, took our life savings, and you're the reason my son is able to go to college. It means a lot. So that's why this volunteer board is very important. So we had this big dinner for Stan, and there was no spotlight, you know. But what happened was, unfortunately, Stan got ill. And so what we did prior to the big dinner is we named this actual Distinguished Service Award in his honor. I've been proud to tell you that I received it a couple of years ago. And here we are 19 years later. And I'd like to introduce John Wolkowski, who's the past president of McDonough Foundation, happens to be my lawyer, so he keeps me out of trouble, and was interviewed deeply by Billy Lockhead. I'm not sure about Billy's interviewing skills, given, you know, but anyways. So I'd like everybody to welcome John Wolkowski to the Stan Lenski DeService Award winnership.
Well, I've got to tell you that I've stood up here on many occasions for the McDonough dinner, and I will again implore all of you, give McDonough whatever money you can, because at the end of the day, it's all about our scholars, who are just absolutely unbelievable individuals who work hard. I have now been involved tangentially with the McDonough Foundation since 1978, when I applied to become a scholar, and sweet Billy Lockhead interviewed me at the Highway Hotel up in Concord. And I think my first award was like $200. But that was the driving force for me to become so incredibly committed to this foundation that is so near and dear to my heart. I can't express the words of how important this foundation has become to me. Receiving this award tonight in Stan's honor is also very touching because, as Pete said, Stan was just unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. This foundation is incredible in so many levels. As we've all said, it's a volunteer board. I'm honored to have served on the board. I think Pete dragged me in 1999 at a meeting at Citizens Bank to join the board, and I have been honored to serve ever since, and I've been honored to be president of this glorious foundation for the last 11 years. I'm continuing my commitment to serve on this board for as long as I can, because it is so meaningful to me and all of the scholars, many of whom are out there tonight, who have become recipients. And what Pete said is absolutely true. When you go through the interviews and you meet these people and realize how important it is at the end of the day to receive any amount of money that we can give to them, it is compelling, and it is so very, very important to each and every one of them. I am humbled to receive this award tonight. And I again would ask each and every one of you, I'm going to throw kudos out to Keith Boyle, who's working on upgrading our website, to please go to the website, look at what we are doing, look at where we've come, and look at where we're heading in the future. And any amount of money that you can contribute will be eminently important from this point forward. We've been in existence for over 55 years. We're going to strive to 100 years. We have good young board members that will continue following the cause. And I thank you for attending tonight. I thank you for the support of McDonough. I ask that you continue to do so from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Tony Fournier, where are you? Tony, stand up. Tony's our 2019 senior champion. We missed you, Tony, but congratulations on your victory this year. And congrats to Wojo as well. Real quick, before we get to our players of the year, along the lines of what McDonough just presented, I had some conversations with a few board members pretty much after we finished this evening last year, and talked about how special it is that we have so many people that are in this room that have made this night possible, and what we could do as an organization to show our thanks. These individuals have made an immeasurable impact on the game of golf in New Hampshire and the NHGA itself. We're talking about folks who have volunteered, they've governed the organization, they provided mentorship, and they have a shared vision for what this organization should be to the game of golf in New Hampshire. And it's with that in mind that tonight and each subsequent night that we gather here for this ceremony, the NHGA is going to be handing out its own Distinguished Service Award. We want to honor someone who has served our organization and done so typically without fanfare or the desire to be recognized for their accomplishments. So how do we decide as an organization who we're going to honor? Well, I think we could start with someone who served a life to his country. The 2019 recipient is a native of Hartford, Connecticut, and served in the Navy for 3.5 years. Upon returning home, he finished his graduate studies at RPI and continued the family business, starting his own architectural brick company here in New Hampshire. In addition, he served his family. A loyal husband, father of 4, and grandfather of 5, he has instilled in his family a love and a passion for the game of golf. His service is extended outside New Hampshire to the USGA, where he served as a USGA committee member for many years. A founding member of the Golf Club of New England, he was instrumental in the creation of the New Hampshire Golf Foundation and was an integral part of the 2012 U.S. Junior, which was held at the Golf Club of New England. He served as president of the NHGA from 2014 to 2016, and under his leadership, the NHGA saw extensive growth and expanded its scope of operations throughout the state. He continues to be engaged with the rules of golf and is still an active volunteer today. You'll frequently find him on the first tee imploring players to count their clubs before they tee off. Off the golf course, he's quick-witted, charming, engaging, gregarious. His stories are legendary, and he seems to have one about everyone. While certainly never one to shy away from being the center of attention, he's also attentive, conscientious, precise, constructively critical, quietly demanding. He's a friend, an ambassador to the game, and continues to work tirelessly for the NHGA. He's someone who I've been honored to work both for and with. It's my sincere privilege to not only present the NHGA Distinguished Service Award, but to also announce that henceforth, and because of the traits embodied by this individual, this award will bear his name. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 NHGA Distinguished Service Award winner, Joseph King.
am just humbled. I truly am humbled. I've got so many friends, and I was just talking to Peter Harity at dinner tonight. I was playing golf with Peter when he was 16 years old, and all my golf friends go way back, and I'm humbled and humbled by this reward, and I can't thank you all enough, and thank you.
Joe did not know that was happening until about 5 minutes ago, so congratulations, Joe. We had another great tournament season this year. We had more than 2,000 rounds played in New Hampshire Golf Association events. Once again, we had top-end, high-level golf played in every event, juniors to seniors. And we want to recognize those who had an exceptional year and have earned Player of the Year honors. We're going to start with our Junior Players of the Year. I'm going to ask our Junior Golf Director, Kinsey Hoffman, to approach the stage and introduce those Players of the Year.
Joe, you're a pretty tough act to follow. Hi, everyone. It's been another great year for junior golf in the state of New Hampshire. Our tour size is growing, we're adding more events, and our players are getting better and more competitive with each passing day. It's been a year of new faces, new friends, seasoned tour players, and personal score records being broken. With that being said, we have a handful of players tonight we want to recognize for their outstanding achievements this season. Our Birdie Girl Player of the Year has become a familiar name to those on the junior tour. She is a fighting force when she steps up to the tee, starting her season off with a win at the Hoodcroft Junior Open with a 9-hole score of 47, and she didn't slow down there either. Madeline collected 5 total first-place wins on the junior tour this season, including the sought-after Junior Invitational Champion title. She has proven herself that she is going to keep pushing for those wins, and with her determination, I have no doubt that she will achieve every goal she sets for herself. Please join me in welcoming up our Birdie Girl Player of the Year for the 2nd year in a row, Madeline Savory.
Good evening. My name is Madeline Savory. I am 10 years old and live in Franklin with my family. I would like to thank the NHGA for this award. I am honored to receive it. Some highlights of this year playing in the NH Junior Tour was meeting Morgan and Taylor. I really enjoyed getting to know them and playing golf with them. They were fun to play with. My favorite course from the tour was North Conway. I think it's a pretty course. Last year, my best score was 50, and I am happy to say that I broke 50 this year and carded a 47. I am always trying to improve my golf game. Another highlight for me was seeing my friend Zach playing in the tour this year. I met Zach a few years ago as we both play on the same PGA Junior League at Beaver Meadow. I even got to play a couple rounds with him on this tour. I would like to say a special thank you to Kinsey and the helpers that put on this tour. I enjoy seeing Kinsey as she is always so nice to me and puts a smile on my face. I would also like to say thank you to my golf coaches, Patrick Gocklin and Phil Davis. Thank you to my mom, dad, and sister Mick for supporting my love of golf. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for bringing me to these events and watching me play. In closing, I would like to leave you with a quote from Bobby Jones. Golf is the closest game to the game we call life. You can't get bad breaks from good shots. You get good breaks from bad shots. You have to play the ball where it lies. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Madeline. Our Eagle Girl Player of the Year might have been new to the junior tour this season, but if you didn't know her name by the end of it, you spent all summer living under a rock. She captured 3 first-place wins on the junior tour, including the Junior Invitational, North Conway, and Amherst, where she shot her best score of the season at 78. She never finished an event outside of the top 3, proving that she was here to win. In the Mike Ryan Memorial Championship, she finished in the top 10 in the qualifying stroke play and made it to the second round of match play, beating out some boys along the way. It was because of her strength on the course and her passion to win that she was invited to be part of the inaugural girls division of the New England Junior Invitational, and she represented Team New Hampshire very well. We are proud to have her as part of our Junior Tour family and cannot wait to see what she's going to accomplish next. Join me in congratulating and welcoming up our Eagle Girl Player of the Year, Miss June Dorr.
Thank you. Last fall, I moved over 2,000 miles from Austin, Texas to Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. Moving was scary, but moving to a place where I didn't know anyone was scarier. At my first NHGA tournament, I knew no one. I went through my practice routine as usual and went up to the tent. Miss Hoffman introduced me to the staff and the other players on the tour. She was so thoughtful and kind to me. I made so many new friends over the season. I felt included and welcome here in New Hampshire. The girls on the tour even included me in their Hawaii-themed day at Teen Country Club. We wore leis and grass skirts and had a blast. Since the first tournament, we have been able to play so many wonderful courses. And playing these courses all over New Hampshire lets me see the beauty of the state. My favorite course that I played this summer was Amherst. It was a really challenging course for me, and it challenged my short game a lot. Another tournament I enjoyed playing in was the Mike Ryan Memorial Co-Ed Tournament. I enjoyed this tournament a lot because I got to compete against boys, and I always enjoyed playing different formats. It was a great experience. This last season, the NHGA gave me the opportunity to represent New Hampshire at the New England Invitational down in Connecticut. Although I did not play how I would have wanted to, it was a wonderful experience of participating on a team. The NHGA welcomed me to New Hampshire and has given me so many opportunities. Because of the Junior Tour and Miss Hoffman, I have made so many new lifelong friends and connections. The NHGA has been so supportive of me, and I can't wait until next season. Thank you.
Our Birdie Boy Player of the Year found himself sitting on top of the leaderboard on multiple occasions this season, never finishing outside of the top 2, which is extremely impressive. He won 3 of his events this year, shooting scores of 38 for 9 holes at Owl's Nest, 45 at North Conway, and 40 at Breakfast Hill. As a 10-year-old, these accomplishments truly attest to the skill level and determination he showed each time he stepped up to the tee. I have no doubt that with his attitude, skill set, and love of the game, he will not only accomplish his goals, but we will continue to see great things from him. Please join me in welcoming up our Birdie Boy Player of the Year, Zachary Nelson.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me at this event. It is a great honor to be here tonight and receive this award. First, I would like to thank everyone for their support. I had a wonderful summer playing in 6 of the NHGA Junior Tour events this year, and look forward to playing in more of them next summer. These tournaments taught me a lot about myself and my golf game, challenging me to play against some excellent competition. I have made so many new golf friends in just one season. I really enjoyed getting to know so many great other young golfers from all over New Hampshire and enjoyed the challenge of playing with all the older boys. I liked playing with them because it gave me more competition, and more competition makes me a better player. Traveling all over New Hampshire and playing new golf courses was also fun and exciting. My favorite moment of this summer's NHGA Junior Tour was the time I shot a 38 at Owl's Nest. This was my favorite moment because I had 8 pars in a row, and experiencing that I could do that was a real confidence builder. In the moment, I was very proud. The NHGA Junior Tour helped me build new confidence and independence in my golf game by playing without a caddy. Playing without a caddy helped me build confidence in my swing because I was not being helped by my caddy or coach on every shot. Playing in the NHGA Junior Tour was a wonderful opportunity for me, and I would like to thank my dad and caddy for signing me up, practicing with me, and taking me to so many events this summer. I would also like to thank my mom for all her love and support, my coach Phil Davis for helping me continue to build my game and work with me on my swing, and all the amazing volunteers from the NHGA for putting on these great events. I look forward to playing with my new and current golf friends for years to come. Thank you, NHGA, for making that possible.
Alrighty. Focused, determined, and motivated are just a couple of words to describe Brian Adams when he steps up to the tee. This isn't surprising either because he's a force to be reckoned with on the course. He captured 4 first-place wins on the Junior Tour this season, including his round at Owl's Nest, where he shot an impressive 2 under par 70. He never finished outside of the top 5 on the Junior Tour, proving that he has what it takes to stay on top of the leaderboard. He placed 6th at the qualifier at Stonebridge, going on to make it to the round of 32 of the New Hampshire State Amateur Championship, which is an impressive accomplishment for a 14-year-old. Not only did he show a great competitive spirit at the AM, but his etiquette on and off the course shows that he's a very well-rounded golfer that anyone would be happy to play alongside of. Brian was also invited to be a part of Team New Hampshire for the 2nd year in a row at the New England Junior Invitational, making our state proud once again with his playing abilities. It's impressive to see how much he has already accomplished at such a young age, but this only proves that he will continue to grow his game and impress us all even more in the future. It's my honor to welcome up our Eagle Bee Player of the Year, Brian Adams.
Good evening, everyone. My journey in competitive golf has seemed like a long one. After all, I've been playing golf for a good portion of my life. For the past couple of years, I've tried to find a tour where I both meet great people and compete at a level appropriate for me at the time, but would also be a good fit for me in my future years as a golfer. That tour is the NHGA. Not only did I make some friends that I'll know and hopefully play golf with for the rest of my life, I got to know people that work at the NHGA that make all of these tournaments possible. There were times this summer where I played 3 or 4 NHGA events in a single week. That can't be easy to handle, and it's great to see Kinsey, Chelsea, and all the other NHGA folks out there every week doing their thing. I think I can speak for a lot of my fellow junior golfers when I say that us players really appreciate everything you do for us week in and week out. In 2018, I decided to take a leap of faith and compete at the NHGA Junior Championship for the first time, and had good fortune to finish runner-up. That finish got me invited to the New England Junior Team Competition at Long Meadow Country Club in Massachusetts, and I had the best time at a tournament I'd ever had. It was a great experience hanging out with my teammates at the hotel, going to the formal dinner at the club, and most of all, getting to represent my home state of New Hampshire as a part of something bigger than myself. So when I set up my 2019 tournament schedule this winter, I really had one main goal for the season: get invited to be part of Team New Hampshire again in 2019. I accomplished this goal and had another excellent tournament this year in Connecticut with a very talented team, and we managed to come in 3rd place this year for one of New Hampshire's best finishes ever. 2019 was also the first year I participated in the New Hampshire State Am at Portsmouth Country Club, yet another fantastic event put on by the NHGA. Myself and a handful of my peers from the NHGA Junior Tour competed in a large field of all ages and represented the juniors well in that event. I'd also like to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Matt Gover, for making it to the semifinals. I look forward to competing in all of these events after the turn of the decade. I'd like to send a special congratulations and thank you to my coach, Laura Shanahan-Rowe, who's been my coach since I was 7 years old, giving me lessons throughout every year. Her input to my golf game has made me the player I am today, and for that I give my sincere thanks. To wrap all of this up, a special thank you goes out to everyone at the NHGA and all the donors that make all this wonderful tournaments possible. I'd also like to thank all my relatives and my parents for taking me to the tournaments every single week. Thank you.
A Player of the Year is a familiar name to the NHGA Junior Tour. We've watched Spencer grow up as a player over the years, and his achievements this season will prove that he will only continue to show us good things. He captured 2 first-place wins this season at Hooper, where he shot a 73, and North Conway, where he shot an impressive even par 71. He never finished outside of the top 10, proving that he has the drive it takes to succeed. Spencer displayed determination during his season on the junior tour, and his accomplishments as a junior golfer reflect that. Please join me in welcoming up our Eagle A Player of the Year, Spencer Stevens.
My time on the junior tour has been an amazing part of my life. It's an amazing time that I can be able to go out and show what I'm worth. My parents have supported me a lot during the times and have always encouraged me to be the best that I can. It's amazing that I can go out and play every single day throughout the summer and show that I'm here to play. And it's amazing what the junior tour can do for all the young kids. They can help learn great life goals. I have matured a lot as a golfer and an athlete. I've been able to focus on the bigger picture of life instead of the small things. And I've controlled many things during the golf season because of that. Thank you.
As many of you probably know, and as Kate told us earlier, our NHGA Junior Tour is sponsored and made possible by the generous donation of the Thorpe Family Foundation. Since 2016, the NHGA has been able to award a scholarship to an alumnus of the Junior Tour that's attending college. This year's recipient is a very familiar name to the NHGA Junior Tour family. She grew up playing on the tour, has countless achievements, and has really proven herself as a golfer. She has found herself successful not only on the golf course, but also in the classroom. She graduated this year and is currently playing on the golf team at the University of Hartford. We wish her all the best with her collegiate golf career, and we are proud to present this year's scholarship to Hannah Drew.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank Steve Thorpe and the Thorpe Family Foundation. Due to their generosity, they make this scholarship possible. They are a huge supporter in promoting junior golf throughout New Hampshire. The Thorpe Foundation and the New Hampshire Golf Association helped to shape not just my junior golf career, but also others. I've met many people who I've come to consider great friends and lifelong golfer companions. Although I'm no longer able to play in these wonderful tournaments, I've had a blast, and I'd like to thank Kinsey and the rest of the helpers for that wonderful experience. Lastly, the biggest supporters in my life are my parents. I wouldn't be here without them, and especially my brother. He's the best golfer I know, and the best coach I've ever had. Thank you.
There are many things that could be said to describe Matt Gover as a golfer. The ones that come to my mind the most are that he's a fierce and true competitor. He started off his season pushing himself to play with the pros at the New Hampshire Open Championship, and then he took home the champion title at the Hoodcroft Junior Open with a score of 2 under par 70, but he didn't stop there. He qualified for the State Am, and Portsmouth is where he shined. At 16 years old and matched up against golfers who are not only older than him, but far more experienced, he fought hard. He took all of his matches to extra holes, proving to be a strong competitor in the field. Matt made it to the semifinal round, where he lost to the State Am champion, John DeVito. His run that he made at Portsmouth Country Club was incredible, and Matt really put himself out there as a player to watch in the NHGA realm. He took on the junior championship and finished in 3rd place at Beaver Meadow. And after all of his accomplishments at the State Am and this season, it was only fitting that he represent New Hampshire at the New England Junior Invitational too. Matt finished in the top 10 for individuals at the New England Juniors with an outstanding final round of 66. With so much accomplished already, we are beyond excited to see what he will do next. I can't think of a more deserving player to receive this award tonight, and it's my honor to welcome up and congratulate our Kirk Hannafeld Junior Player of the Year, Matt Gover.
All right. So, I'd like to start off by saying thank you to the New Hampshire Golf Association for choosing me for this tremendous honor. There were a lot of deserving candidates for this honor, and it really means a lot for me to be selected. Junior golf in New Hampshire is very bright with all the really strong players all over the state. I had a pleasure to meet and compete with most of them this year. I'd like to thank the members and staff at Atkinson Country Club, where I'm from, and give a very special thanks to all the professionals at Atkinson. Peter Doherty, JT, Nick Antonelli, and the rest of the staff have been a real tremendous influence in my golf game. They're not only mentors to me, but they also are really good friends. Growing up and playing in the Atkinson Junior League really helped show me how much I love the game and playing competitively in it. The friendships I've made in there will last a lifetime. I'd like to thank my coach, Mark Spencer, for helping me through all these years. His instruction has taken me to the next level. A big thank you goes out to my mom and dad and my sister. I would not be where I am today without the sacrifices they made for me. New Hampshire Golf Association is doing a tremendous job running the top-notch tournaments every year. I look forward to playing in many more tournaments. Also, I'd like to give a shout-out to my buddy Brian Adams. It was always a blast playing with you this year, buddy. Looking forward to many seasons to come, and thank you for the help in the round of 16. Thank you.
I would now like to invite up Dana Harity up to the stage to speak on the NHWGA Player of the Year.
The NHWGA was first introduced to Lauren Thibodeau in 2011 when she was 11 years old, and she won the junior championship. She won it 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. After that, she got a scholarship to Louisville, where she is right now. This year, she competed in the New England Amateur, and she won our state amateur, and for that, she is our Player of the Year. And you can look up all her stats on the website, on Louisville EDU. She is one of the best. So, Lauren's not with us, of course, she's in Louisville, but she is our Player of the Year. So, thank you very much.
The 2019 NHJ Senior Player of the Year is Bob Kearney from the Shattuck Golf Club. The former #1 ranked senior amateur in the country had an impressive campaign this year, capped off with a win at the New England Senior Championship in Maine last month. The Connecticut native achieved success both in and out of New England this year. Qualifying rounds of 77 and 73 in the U.S. Senior Amateur at Old Chatham in Durham, North Carolina, allowed him to advance to the round of 32, where he eventually lost 2-1. Bob found early season success at the Gateway Senior Invitational this past January, where he finished 9th, and followed that up with a tied for 9th finish at the Carlton Woods Invitational in April. Those early season successes set the table for Bob to have an efficient and solid year back in the Granite State. He earned low amateur honors at the New Hampshire Open in June, finished tied for 21st at the NHJ Senior Amateur in September. Finished tied for 21st at the Stroke Play Championship in August, was tied for 10th at the NHJ Senior Amateur, and finished tied for 19th at the NHJ Mid-Amateur. He boasted a scoring average of 75 over all his competitive NHJ rounds and an overall scoring average of 75.4 for the year. Please welcome our 2019 Senior Player of the Year, Bob Kearney.
Thank you, Matt. It's a great honor to receive this award. I'm a relatively new member of the New Hampshire golf community. I'd like to thank the New Hampshire Golf Association for the support they've given me and the warm welcome I've received from them and from the players I've met from around the state. I'd also like to especially thank Bill Elliott, who's been a very good friend for the last year. He's gone out of his way to set me up with practice rounds to play with him and introduce me to everybody we meet in the tournaments. I'd also like to offer congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees for this year. When I reviewed the resumes, I was extremely impressed. And I gotta say, Phil, 20 state championships, that's unbelievable. Congratulations. Well-earned inductions to the Hall of Fame this year. So thank you very much.
For the second consecutive year, Pat Pelletier of Carter Country Club is the Thomas J. Leonard Player of the Year. Pelletier began his season with a runner-up finish at the Players Invitational, firing a round of 1 under par 71. He found early season success outside of New Hampshire with a tie for 30th finish at the Vermont Open and a solo 4th place finish at the Vermont Amateur. Pelletier had a very busy second half of the golf season, finishing in 8th place at the New England Amateur in July. He won the NHJ Stroke Play in August with a total of 13 under par, good for a 6-shot victory. The highlight of his 2019 season came when he was exempted into the final field of the U.S. Mid-Amateur based on his World Amateur Golf ranking. Pelletier shot rounds of 83 and 82, but missed the cut. He returned to New Hampshire and finished the year with a tied for 16th finish at the New Hampshire Mid-Amateur and Concord Country Club. Pat boasted an impressive scoring average of 71 across all NHGA competitive rounds this year. Unfortunately, Pat could not be here this evening, so we'll accept the award on his behalf, and congratulations to Pat. And now we are going to get into our Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame induction portion of the evening. We continue to be thrilled and overwhelmed by the amount of support that we received about the Hall of Fame. The feedback that we've gotten from the golf community has been fantastic. So thanks to all of you who have been engaged in what we're trying to accomplish with the Hall of Fame. I do want to thank 2 individuals who served on the Hall of Fame committee loyally for the last 2 or 3 years. They will be terming off of the committee just based on some of the bylaws that we have. I know there are 2 individuals that probably wish they weren't going, that they wish they could continue to serve on the Hall of Fame, knowing how much they enjoy the history of golf and being a part of the selection of these great individuals. One of these individuals, John Bottomley, couldn't be here this evening, but John Lewandowski is here, and I'd like to ask John to come up here and accept a token of gratitude on behalf of the entire NHGA. All right, our first Hall of Fame nominee this evening is Thomas J. Leonard Jr., an individual whose name and achievements are synonymous with New Hampshire golf. To introduce and accept his nomination, please welcome to the stage his daughter, Lisa Leonard Plead.
On behalf of my brother Jay, my sisters Jennifer and Holly, and the entire Tommy Leonard family, I'd like to thank Matt, Kate, Kinsey, Chelsea, and the New Hampshire Golf Association, David Larrabee and the Hall of Fame Committee, John Lewandowski too, for honoring our father here tonight. This recognition for our father, I can't be crying already, okay, is very timely. Since just last month, we marked 50 years since our parents died. In 2 days, it will be my mother's birthday. It has been nearly 70 years since our father played competitive golf. We are humbled and so very grateful that you honor our father and bring his memory to life so many years later. Thank you. Who was Tommy Leonard? You may have seen the Player of the Year trophy with his name on it. And those of you who have been around for a while may hear his stories and his name during stadium time. But most in this room know very little about him. In preparation for tonight, I've been thinking about how I might honor my father by sharing who he was and saying or doing what he might say or do. If he could be here tonight. While he loved people, he was a very social, happy guy, so always the life of the party. So I'm sure he would be here mingling in the crowd earlier this evening, offering warm welcomes and congratulating the recipients. So for him and on behalf of my family, I congratulate all of tonight's honored guests and champions, and I welcome you all. Tommy Leonard was a lover and promoter of the game of golf. He grew up playing the game, but it was important to him that he contribute to its development. He was active with the New Hampshire Golf Association, the New England Golf Associations, involved with the USGA, and had hopes of contributing more on a national level later in his life. He saw such value in the game of golf that he wanted to encourage young people to play for their own benefit and for the growth of the game itself. If my father had the opportunity, I am sure he would be promoting the game here tonight. Would love the first tee in the NHGA junior program, and he would be so happy to see all the young players here tonight. My father appreciated, respected, and embraced all aspects of the game. During his competitive years, he played three-time major winner, World Golf Hall of Famer Julius Boros, several times. One of those times was in the 1948 U.S. Amateur in Memphis, Tennessee. As the story goes, he and Boros were in extra holes when Boros's shot went out of bounds, hit a telephone pole, and came back inbounds. Boros won the match, but Tommy later shared that it was one of the most enjoyable rounds he had ever experienced. A month earlier, Tommy defeated Boros in the semifinals of the New England Amateur in Connecticut. He valued the good moments and the unfortunate moments, all as part of the game. Tommy Leonard was also very humble, unassuming man. He wasn't much for accolades or self-congratulation. He gave up his golf career when he was in his 30s, before I was born, to concentrate on his law practice, business endeavors, and raising his family. I am proud to say that my father was so humble that I didn't know he played competitive golf until he died, and I read it in the papers. He never took himself too seriously. Golf was important once, then family was important. While raising us, he was given the name Wagon Master because he was known for organizing activities for our family and friends to spend time together. Being a family man was his priority at that time, and he lived it 100%, just as he had lived golf 100% years before. While reading some old articles, I recently came upon a quote from just a month before he died. He had long before ended his competitive career, but he played in a father and son tournament with my brother Jay. They won, and he stated that it, quote, topped all the thrills of winning any state championships. Golf was important, but family was more. Tommy Leonard also had a great sense of humor and a good amount of pride. This became apparent when my mother got a hole-in-one while playing in a Natural Country Club Mickey Mouse on the old second hole at Nashua, now the sixth hole, a downhill par 3. My mother had a pink Flying Lady golf ball named after Dinah Shore. It matched her pink, green, and blue club heads. Supposedly, the only time my mother's ball was off the ground on that second hole was when it was on the tee. It rolled all the way down the hill into the hole. Now, the problem for my father was that the ball should now be placed in a case, but the ball was pink. And he couldn't have it that a pink ball would be encased. So to this day, in my home, there is an encased white Titleist 1, engraved hole-in-one, Mrs. T. Leonard Jr., August 30th, 1961. If my father could be here tonight, he would not be talking about himself or about his accomplishments. Instead, I imagine he would talk to you about the game he loved, the game of golf. So that is what I'll do. Jack Nicklaus once stated, "Golf is not and never has been a fair game." I think all of us here tonight, whether players or spectators such as myself, know the unfairness of the game. It demands patience, requires humility, and requests integrity. But golf is even more than that. It is, as my sister Jennifer has coined it, the great connector. It brings people together, like us tonight, and forges lifelong friendships. I cannot express the great kinship my husband and I feel with those who have competed with him through the years, friends like Danny, Peter, Steck, and Bob, who have been rivals but also friends with a great respect for one another. I'm sure my father and so many here tonight have experienced golf as the great connector as well. For my family, golf has been the great connector in a very personal way because it has linked family members who never met. My husband Phil didn't have the opportunity to meet his father-in-law. I'm going to get through this, okay? I just want you to know that. But in his travels for tournaments over the past 37 years, when others would hear he married Tommy Leonard's daughter, they would tell him stories of my dad. Many times through the years, Phil would come home and tell me those stories, ones I had not heard. And my husband, the man who never met my father, would teach me, his daughter, about who my father was. Those stories created a relationship between my husband and my father. It is a thrill to my family that Phil has won the Player of the Year award named after his father-in-law. But that's not all. This has also happened to my brother-in-law, golf professional Joe St. Laurent, tonight's recipient of the New Hampshire Pro of the Year award, when he would hear stories of my dad through the years. These men have connected with their father-in-law in a unique way. And how awesome is it that my father and two of his son-in-laws are being recognized here the same night. Thank you, NHGA and NHPGA. But still, that's not all. Golf also links generations that never touched. Here tonight are Kelly, Jenny, and James, a few of Tommy's 10 grandchildren. Their generation never touched my father's generation, but they have felt a connection with him through those great stories. My son James and my nephew Joel Jr. played in some of the same tournaments as their grandfather, even having their name engraved on the same trophy. Truly, golf has been a great connector for my family, and we are so grateful. The gift of golf is one my father discovered many years ago, not just as a great test of the mind and body, but as a game that brings people of all ages, all genders, all generations together. I'm sure he's smiling tonight. Once again, on behalf of my father, Tommy Leonard, thank you for honoring him tonight. In his spirit, may we be grateful for this great game, promote and honor the tradition of the game, and forge many great friendships along the way. Thank you.
Our second nominee this evening is the consummate PGA professional. Admired across the state for his dedication to his craft and love of the game, His spirit and passion still live in the hallways of this very club. I'd like to welcome John Lewandowski to this stage to introduce our next inductee, Stan Lenski.
Lisa, that's a tough act to follow. And I gotta tell you, I got a call a few weeks ago from Glenn, asked me if I'd come up and say a few words tonight regarding Stan. Stan was my cousin. I said, sure, I'd be glad to. For the last few weeks I've been looking around for some information on Stan and putting something together. I'd get up here and talk about it. And I gotta tell you, I don't know what I'm doing up here. After John Wachowski, Pete Smith, and reading this brochure that we have tonight, that's it. I mean, he stole a lot of my thunder. So I'm going to have to do it on the fly. One thing I did want to mention that hasn't been covered. Stan Lenski, a lot of you here tonight that knew Stan know the story. And for you people that don't know Stan, or didn't know him very well, this will show you the kind of guy that Stan was. Stan was 22. His wife, Pat, was 21. There was 8 kids in his family. His parents had 8 kids. Stan was the oldest. When Stan was 22 years old, there was tragedy in the family. Their parents passed away at a very early age. Stan was the only one, was the oldest. He was married. The rest of them were at home. They weren't. Stan and his wife decided, they had a decision to make. He wasn't going to see the family break up. So he brought the kids to his house, and they raised those kids. Stan had 4 of his own, 1 at the time, and all this was happening, I'm told, with 1 bathroom in the house. I'm sure there were some tense moments in that household. But Stan was working he was an assistant pro at Manchester Country Club. He was working 6, 7 days a week, 7 o'clock in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night. He got off easy. Pat was home with all the kids. They 21 years old and instant family. Talk about an instant family. Wow. So, but they hung in there, and he did a hell of a job because they all turned out great. And one by one, they left the nest as they got older. But Stan and his wife were, that's Stan and Pat. They were tremendous people, and you know, come hell or high water, they were going to keep that family together, and they did. That was Stan. Now, like I say, I had to change this thing. I played a lot of golf in my early years, all over New England, with my good partner, Danny Avanitis. I learned a long time ago, never leave home without him. And so we played in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Maine. We played all over. And wherever the tournament was, when they heard we were from Manchester, New Hampshire, the pro from the club, the tournament director, whatever, come out, and they said, you guys are from Manchester? Yeah. Stan Lenski, Manchester Country Club? I don't care where we were. Everybody knew Stan. I mean, the accolades for Stan were just unbelievable. That's the kind of guy he was. And on another personal note, I started caddying at Manchester Country Club when I was 12 years old. And Stan took me under his wing. He was the caddy master, gave me a few tips on what to do, what not to do. And when I was 14, Manchester Country Club had a program where on Monday mornings the caddies could play 9 holes. There was 30, 40 caddies at the time. They didn't have golf carts at the time, so caddies were pretty popular. And most of the caddies played on Monday morning. I wasn't playing. Stan came up to me one day, he says, John, he says, I noticed you're not playing with the caddies on Monday morning. He says, what's the matter? You don't like golf? I said, no, Stan. I love golf. I said, but I've only got 2 clubs. I've got a 3-iron and a 2-wood. And I said, every day when I get home from caddying, there's a big field behind my house, and I go hit balls until it gets dark. I love golf. I said, I'm saving my money so that you know, when I get enough money, I can buy a second-hand set of clubs and I can join the boys playing Monday morning. He says, come with me. You guys remember the old pro shop? They had club storage in the back room. He took me back there and he says, all right, let's see what we got here. Found an old bag, leather bag. He said, this'll do. Then he says, there's a barrel back there, huge barrel with a lot of second-hand clubs in it, used clubs and whatever. He said, let's see what we got. So he started pulling out some irons. Put together a set of irons for me. He says, all right, you got a 2-wood. He said, no, you need a couple more woods. He found a 3 and a 4-wood. I said, this'll do. He said, now, he said, you need a putter. Got me a putter. I said, you're all set. And he got me head covers to go with the woods. And he said, yeah, you're all set. I said, oh, geez, thanks, Dan, that's great. He said, oh, no, one more thing. He says, if you're going to play golf, you got to have golf shoes. Oh, golf shoes, wow. I was about 5 feet tall. I didn't weigh 100 pounds. And my feet were about this big. And he looked, he says, well, this is going to be a problem. He looked around, I'm in his locker room. He found the smallest pair of shoes he could find, and they were still 2 or 3 sizes too big for me. He said, put these on. So I did. So how do they feel? I said, they're a little big. My feet were flopping around. He said, take them off, I'll fix that. Took them off, he took some old newspapers, stuffed them in the toes. He said, put them on now. He said, how do they feel? I said, perfect. I wasn't taking them off for anything. So he says, okay, you're all set. Now you go out and play Monday morning. So I did. And he got me going on the game of golf, which I fell in love with and never stopped playing until this, and still play today. But as time went on, I had some success on the amateur circuit in New Hampshire, and after one of my victories, I ran into Stan a few days after that, and he says, congratulations. He shook my hand, big smile on his face, and he says, you've done well. I says, yeah, thanks to you. You know where this all started, don't you? He looked at me with a smile, a little twinkle in his eye, and he says, yeah, I do. And I says, yeah, but the best part of that is the golf shoes, what you did with the newspapers and the toe. I said, that made it happen. And he just laughed. He says, well, he says, it served you well. So, you know, it sure did. And Stan, over the years, I belonged to Derryfield. I've been up there for 60 years and could never afford Manchester. But Stan knew I loved Manchester Country Club. It was my favorite golf course, always has been, always will be. And I was in sales, so I had a pretty flexible schedule. And he'd call me up this time of the year. He didn't play much, but he would play in the fall when things slowed down. And with guys like Bob Ackerson, Ray Roberts, see you tonight, Joe Griswack, Earl Trider, and he'd call me up and he'd say, on Tuesday or so, he said, John, he says, I need a 4th for Thursday, 1 o'clock, can you make it? I said, you better believe it, I'll be there. So he did this a number of times for me. I'd come over, we'd play, and he knew I was thrilled. I think he was more happy about it than I was. But that's Stan. Stan was just such a great guy, and I mean, and really, I had a lot more to say, but this says it all. What's in there? That. And thanks, Pete, John. But you know, that's in closing. I just want to say, Stan Linsky may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten. Thank you.
Our third nominee is accomplished as both an amateur and professional player and has a sterling reputation as a teacher of the game. To introduce Laura Shanahan Rowe, please welcome her husband, Earl.
I'm well prepared, no notes. It's a bit of a surprise that I was going to make this announcement. We just came back from French Lick, Indiana, where my wife participated in the U.S. Women's Open. Unfortunately, we wound up with a pairing with someone that got involved with a stroke problem. They wound up using their caddy to line up their putts. And I called it to their attention on the very first hole they played. But he advised me he didn't need my counsel, that he knew what he was doing. 78 strokes later, and I don't mean hits, I mean penalty strokes. She wound up in last place, but because of the generosity of the Women's Golf Association, she wound up with the LPGA. She wound up with a check anyway, which is why she continued playing. I'm personally proud that I've had the luck, if you will, to participate with Laura. We went out, she called me one day, I was home watching TV, I got a phone call, and the phone call asked if I wanted to play golf with her. And I told her that no, I wasn't interested in playing golf with women. And she chewed me out and said, "You're not even giving me a chance." And I said, "Well, that's fair." So we met. So I got up in the first hole and hit this beautiful draw out there around the corner at Amherst with a 3-iron. And I stood back and puffed my chest up. And she drove it past me. And the next hole she drove it past me. And the next hole she drove it past me. And she outscored me. And I thought I was pretty hot because I've been a club champ several times and a course record holder. And it didn't matter to her. Whoever you were should knock you down. Fortunately, I like being knocked down. So I asked her to marry me. And as crazy as she is, she said yes. With that story, I can one more to add to that little story is that she went to an event one time without me, which startled me. But I had to participate at Hoodcroft, and I was down there playing, and she was off on a jaunt by herself. And I wound up winning the tournament, and I'm standing around and the phone rings, and a friend of mine runs over with a cell phone and tells me that we have a call from Laura. And she was at Pinehurst, and she won the tournament. It was sponsored by Sky Caddy, and she won the tournament without me, by the way, which startled the hell out of me. But she said the punchline that broke me up, which is one of the reasons why I married her, she's got a sense of humor. She said, "Earl, I won the tournament, and I won it with Earl in a box, and he didn't talk back."
Thank you, Earl. It's really been a lot of fun. And this is very exciting, and it's a great honor to be involved in this Golf Hall of Fame. It's really special. Certainly wasn't expecting it, but it's very nice. And it's all because of golf. I mean, everybody here is because of golf. We've all had many opportunities to satisfy our competitive nature, and I know I have it in quite a bit. And it's certainly challenged me. It's certainly given me a lot of victories because of it, and certainly some disappointments, and I'm sure you all understand that. And it's all because of golf. But because of golf, I met my husband Earl. We've had a lot of fun. We've seen some beautiful places and some great tournaments together. And I'm very thankful for that. And because of golf, again, I've met some great friends. Some of you are here with me today, which I'm very thankful for. Very thankful for my club guy that will tolerate me calling him up 2 hours before I leave on a plane for a tournament to tweak my clubs. Very thankful. And all my friends have been so supportive. And it's very exciting to be here. And the other thing, because of golf, that's so exciting is I get to assist some really good golfers like Brian Adams. I'm so happy for you, Brian. And also beginner golfers of all levels. It's all because of golf that I get to do this. And I just want to say I'm truly thankful and grateful for the New Hampshire Golf Association for giving me this opportunity to say thank you for the state of New Hampshire. Thank you.
Bill, if you want to have story time in the bar after we're finished, I think you'd get a pretty good crowd. Our final inductee of the evening is an individual who has set a standard that may never be duplicated. 20 NHGA championships, 20 USGA championships, and the unending respect and admiration of the golfing public throughout New England. To introduce Phil Pleat, please welcome his children, Jennifer and James.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight amongst all the New Hampshire champions and to introduce our father, Phil Pleat, as an inductee to the New Hampshire Golf Association Hall of Fame. Thank you to the NHGA for this recognition. We believe our dad is incredibly deserving of this honor, not purely because of his accolades, but because of the way he achieved them. He's an accomplished champion, but more importantly, a great man. James and I grew up watching our father somehow balance it all. Work his day job to support his family, be a dutiful husband and son, play competitive golf, and still be at home for dinner, coach our basketball teams, and be silly with us on the weekends. He always put his family first and continues to today. Amidst all of these obligations, he carved out time to compete at a high level in the game he loves. His work ethic and ambition are a model to James and I, one that we both tried to emulate as college athletes and now as people. We most admire his humility. Throughout his successful golf career, he has continued to stay humble, hungry, and determined. He would often impart his wisdom on us. He would say, "Stay humble and let your game do the talking."
What Jenny and I appreciate about our dad as a competitor is that he never seems to be completely satisfied. He does not get complacent and instead focuses on self-improvement. As a result, our dad is unequivocally a student of the game of golf. If you look at the home screen on his phone, you will see about 100 bookmarks of YouTube videos with swing tips from teaching pros. Similarly, if you turn on any of the TVs in his home, the chances are high that the Golf Channel will pop up first. Our dad's passion and genuine love for the game of golf is undeniable and has contributed to his longevity as an amateur golfer. In addition to being his children, Jenny and I were and still are his #1 fans, along with our mom, Lisa. Growing up, we would watch him play in tournaments like the State Amateur, the New England Amateur, and Tri-States. We went from being his fans, to his caddies, to his playing partners in paired child events. This was the equivalent of becoming teammates with your favorite professional athlete. We've had many special memories with our dad, both on and off the golf course, which would not have been possible if not for his devotion as a father. It is our pleasure to introduce our father, Phil Pleat, as a New Hampshire Golf Hall of Fame inductee.
Well, didn't see that coming. Let's see if I can read this. Well, good evening, everybody. Like to thank Matt, Kate, Kinsey, Chelsea, and the NHGA for another great evening, and congratulate all of tonight's award winners. It's great listening to everybody get up here, especially the kids, and say a few words. I'd like to also thank the rules officials we have out there at the tournaments and the volunteers, the Woods brothers, Patty Wildman, and there's others I'm sure, but I can't remember their names. But it's always a relief when you hit one sideways and you get that safe signal from one of the volunteers. Also like to thank Dave Larrabee, the Hall of Fame committee, Johnny Lewandowski for including me in this class, with Laura Shanahan Rowe, Stan Lenski, and my father-in-law Tommy Leonard. I am humbled and honored. I'd like to recognize Nashua Country Club for all the support through the years. I've been a member there since 1987. Got great practice facilities, and we've got a great group of players, young and old. It's easy to keep your game sharp there. I was a member here at Manchester in the early 80s, and I knew Stan Lenski. Who didn't love Stan? He didn't mind me practicing. Occasionally, I'd come out at 6 a.m. back in the day, and he wouldn't mind me going out to the 12th or 14th tee, hitting drivers, as long as I didn't get in the way of any maintenance crew or any people that were out there playing that early. So I can thank Stan for that. He was the best. Got many memories of competing here for the last 42 years. My first NHGA event was the 1977 State Am at the Balsams, where I lost to Hugh Barrett. The eventual winner there was some guy named Milkars. Through these years, I've forged many friendships with people that I've competed against often, and many of them are here tonight. At the end of the season, it would culminate at the Tri-State event. The camaraderie of the Tri-States was and still is special. It's a more relaxed atmosphere where you get to know one another. Years ago, when I'm going back, there was no point system for selecting that team. Or it was Doc Elliott. Doc would approach you during the State Am, either during it or after it ended. He'd be holding this tiny piece of paper that fit right into the palm of his hand. On it, a list of his invitees. Doc loved the Tri-States. I'd like to recognize some people here who have supported me through the years. I'm thankful for my late parents, Jim and Nia, who were always there for me. I'm also grateful for my brother-in-law, the New Hampshire PGA Professional of the Year, Joel St. Laurent, the late Phil Friel, the late John Mills. They helped me immensely in understanding the golf swing. I'd also like to mention a guy by the name of Tom Stanley. He was a caddy for me in many events throughout the state. No one knew more about golf than Tom, and he would tell you that. So years ago, I was playing here at Manchester Country Club, going along pretty well when I got to the 17th tee. Back then we used wooden drivers, so from the back tee, I'd try to steer a little driver down the fairway. So I went over to my bag, and the only club that was visible was my 3-wood. Tom had a bear hug on all of the clubs, making sure I wouldn't grab that driver. So we argued a bit, but I got the hint. Tom, as a caddy, was always looking out for his player. He later caddied for my son James as well. In fact, right here at Manchester Country Club in James's first State Am at the age of 14. Tom was playing in the tournament himself, but still found a way to caddy for James. He was a true friend to our family. Through my travels through the years, I've been fortunate to meet some notable people in their teenage years. I was on the range at TPC Sawgrass at the 1994 U.S. Amateur, finishing up my practice session, when I noticed a group of spectators gathering behind the ropes next to me. Of course, they weren't there to watch me. Tiger Woods had pulled in behind me. He was 18, so I introduced myself, wished him good luck that week. Later on, I traveled to Scotland in 1998 with my wife and David and Maureen Friel to play the British Amateur. While David and I were practicing at a sheltered range because it was raining sideways, shocker, in Scotland, we ran into Trevor Immelman, future Masters winner. I also met Justin Rose on the putting green, and we had a nice conversation. He was as genuine then as he is now. Playing competitive golf, I think you need a plan. You have to be disciplined. You have to stay calm and stable. And I think the same can be said for raising a family. The stabilizing force in our family is my wife, Lisa. I'm grateful for all of her support, what she endured with the ups and downs of competitive golf in our 37 years of marriage. The challenge was always balancing family, work, and golf. Lisa's also a very giving person if you don't know her. She actually allowed me to have an affair with the game of golf. As Hall of Fame member inductee last year, Tony Locke once wrote, "Golf is my mistress," and I can say the same. Lisa has not only supported my golf, but the athletic endeavors of our kids as well. We jokingly call her the resident therapist and athletic supporter. She's also very much a team player. She even washed the New Hampshire team golf shirts for Peter Houle, Bob Mielkars, and myself prior to the final round of the 1997 USGA state team event in Arizona. Why did she do that? We only got 2 shirts each, and it was a 3-round tournament. Anyway, alongside Lisa, my 2 greatest supporters are my children, Jenny and James. Growing up, they'd meet me at Nassau Country Club in the evening. First, they wanted to ride in the cart. Then, as the years went on, they wanted to drive it. Eventually, they wanted to hit some golf shots. At an early age, they were out there watching me play. I still remember Jenny at age 2 in a pink ruffled skirt with a matching visor, holding a flag she had made saying, "Good luck, Daddy." James then made his first appearance at 2 weeks old at the Nashua City tournament, his first time out of the house since he was born. The kids often don matching t-shirts saying "Daddy's Caddy." Now, some of my fondest memories are playing golf with them. The major every year was the parent-child event at Nashua Country Club, and that was big. Jenny and I moved up, we played in that, then we moved up to the New Hampshire Golf Association father-daughter event. But eventually she chose basketball in the summer and continued playing through college. She's now returned to golf, having played 3 rounds this year. We say she has the best swing in the family. James and I followed the same father-son events as well. My most memorable experience was James are playing in the 2012 U.S. Amateur in Colorado. At the time, only the 4th father-son combination to play in the same U.S. Amateur. James caddying for me in the 2012 U.S. Senior Open and playing as a team in the 2017 U.S. Amateur 4-ball at Pinehurst. Those were thrilling moments. I also love caddying for James. Now, I was introduced to the game through caddying, and I'm still a caddy. My kids still support me to this day when I compete, following online via text threads when they can't be there in person. I'm very happy to pass the game along to them, game of a lifetime. I also want to thank my extended family and friends that are here tonight, some of whom have traveled from Maine, different parts of Massachusetts, Cape Cod. I greatly appreciate your support. Again, it's quite an honor to enter the New Hampshire Golf Hall of Fame for this great sport. It's a night I'll never forget. As a journeyman PGA Tour player, Joel Edwards said to me over lunch at the 2012 U.S. Senior Open, "Golf is the worst, best game." And I am grateful to be part of it. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our inductees and all those who were recognized this evening. That concludes our program for the night. Thanks again to everyone for being here, and we look forward to seeing everyone again next year. Thank you.